Hi, this is Mark Okesbrow from the UK. I've been involved in mission in different parts of the world. The two questions have been put to me. First of all is how do evangelicals in the UK and also in other parts of Europe respond to the growing number of Muslims that are living in our communities? I think there are really three ways evangelicals are responding. One, unfortunately, I think is a response of fear. And there are those that really often don't have much direct contact with Muslims, but are fearful of all they read in the media, obviously the current presence of ISIS around the world and terrorism in our own country. And it just builds up a whole attitude of fear. And that's not the most helpful response. There are others who see Islam as in competition with Christianity, and it almost becomes a sort of numbers game. Are we going to be the majority community as Christians decline in number in Europe, or will Muslims become the majority? And that can lead to some positive responses. It encourages us to be more active in mission. It encourages people to have contact with Muslims. But again, a competition of numbers is not necessarily the most positive response. The third attitude is one of concern for Muslims, as seeing Muslims as genuine people who are searching for the truth but haven't found it, and therefore wanting to build friendships and relationships with individual Muslims in their communities and share with them the good news of Jesus Christ. And that, I think, is the third attitude, and I see that at the moment growing, and there are particular mission movements within the UK that are taking that response in more seriously and building friendships with Muslims. I think the second question was how much of a threat to Europe is Islam? Is Europe going to become an Islamic continent? I don't personally believe that's going to be the case. There have been some interesting statistics put forward, particularly based on the birth rate of Muslims. I think some of those statistics are flawed. The birth rate of immigrant Muslim families is often high, but second and third generations, the birth rate often falls to something very similar to European families. I think there will be an increased presence of Islam in Europe, but we're also seeing an increase in nominal Islam and the younger generations falling away from the Islamic faith, maybe retaining the dress, the appearance of being Islamic, but not active in their faith at all. We see a lot in the media high-profile cases of individual Christians becoming Muslims, and of churches being bought and used as mosques. But that actually is not typical of what's happening. What's much more typical, sadly, is that churches are sold to be used as cafes, as museums, as nightclubs, or just demolished because they're no longer in use. So I think the real threat to Christianity in the West, in Europe and in Britain, is secularism, materialism, apathy. And so the challenge for the church is to be sharing the good news with Muslims, but more particularly understanding how those that are gripped by materialism and secularism can respond to the gospel. And I think that's the real challenge before us at the moment.
Thank you.